In 2024, Iran is facing a crisis that has captured headlines across the globe. Large protests have broken out in many cities, with thousands of Iranians demanding change from their leaders. At the same time, the government is using force to stop these protests. This has caused worry both inside Iran and among other countries watching from afar. The United States has become involved as well. The US government is sending more military forces to the region and warning Iran's leaders to stop hurting protesters. The situation is tense, and people everywhere are asking, what happens if things get worse? Many are worried about the possibility of a bigger conflict. It is important to understand why these protests are happening and how different countries are reacting to the crisis. The choices made now could affect not just Iran, but also the wider Middle East and even the world. This is why so many people are paying close attention to the news from Iran right now. In this essay, we will look closely at the causes of the protests, the government's response, US military actions, the role of other countries, and the impact on daily life. We will also explore the challenges of getting information from Iran and what the future may hold. The protests in Iran began because many people were unhappy with how the country was being run. Some were upset about the cost of food, fuel, and basic goods, which have become more expensive due to the poor economy. Others were angry about strict rules and limits on freedom, like rules about what people can wear or say in public. A major spark for the protests came after the death of a young woman in police custody. This event led many Iranians, especially young people and women, to take to the streets. They wanted justice and more rights for everyone. Over time, the protests grew bigger and called for changes in how the government works. The protesters are not just asking for lower prices or more jobs. Many are demanding big changes, such as more freedom, fairer laws, and even new leaders. Some chants at rallies call for the end of Iran's current system, which is led by religious leaders known as the clerics. All of this has made the protests very serious. They are not just about a single issue, but about the future of the whole country. The Iranian government has responded to the protests with force. Police and security forces have filled the streets, using tear gas, rubber bullets, and sometimes even live ammunition to break up crowds. Many protesters have been arrested, and some have been hurt or killed during clashes with police. Officials in Iran say they are trying to keep order and stop violence. But human rights groups outside the country say the government is going too far. They report that thousands of protesters have been detained and that some have even been sentenced to death. Families gather for funerals under heavy security, and tensions remain high in many cities. The government also tries to control what people see and hear. Leaders blame foreign countries, especially the US, for encouraging unrest. They call protesters troublemakers or terrorists, even though many are ordinary people. These actions are meant to scare people and stop them from joining the protests. Despite the risks, many Iranians keep going into the streets. They use secret ways to share news and videos, hoping the world will see what is happening. As protests grew in Iran, the United States began to respond. The US has long disagreed with Iran's leaders, especially about nuclear weapons and human rights. In 2024, US officials warned Iran to stop hurting protesters, saying they might take action if the violence continued. To show they were serious, the US moved more warships and soldiers to areas near Iran. Some US military bases in the Middle East made plans to protect their troops in case of attacks. This show of force was meant to warn Iran's leaders that the world was watching. At the same time, US leaders talked about the need for peace and respect for human rights. They said they did not want war, but they were ready to defend their interests and help keep people safe. This careful balance is meant to pressure Iran without starting a bigger conflict. The US also worked with other countries to share information and coordinate their actions. This way, they could send a clear message to Iran's government, stop the violence, or face international consequences. The crisis in Iran has worried many countries around the world. Some European countries, like the United Kingdom and France, have spoken out against the violence and called for respect for human rights. They have also put sanctions on Iranian leaders, which means they cannot travel or use money in those countries. Turkey and Egypt have offered to help by talking to both sides and encouraging peace. These countries really do not want fighting to spread in the region, which is already unstable. Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates have said they will not let their land or airspace be used for attacks on Iran. This shows they want to avoid being pulled into a bigger conflict. The United Nations, a group of almost all countries, has called for calm and for Iran to listen to its people. Some countries are sending aid or offering to help refugees if the crisis gets worse. These actions show that the world is connected, and what happens in Iran matters to everyone. Still, not all countries agree on what to do. Some support Iran's government, while others support the protesters. This makes finding a solution more difficult, but also more important. For most people living in Iran, daily life has become much harder during the crisis. Shops sometimes close early because of protests, and families worry about their children's safety. Many parents are afraid to let their kids go out, especially at night. The fear of violence is always present. In some neighborhoods, people hear gunshots or see smoke from clashes. Schools may close and public events are canceled. Hospitals are busy treating people hurt in the protests, and some families are searching for loved ones who have been arrested or gone missing. Jobs and money are also big worries. Many businesses are losing customers because people are afraid to go out. Some workers have not been paid for months, and finding a job is even harder than before. This stress affects everyone, from children to the elderly. Through all this, Iranians try to support each other. Neighbors share food, and friends look after each other's children. Even in these hard times, many people do their best to stay hopeful and help their community. The protests and government crackdown have made Iran's economy even worse. Before the crisis, Iran was already suffering from high prices and a weak currency, called the rial. Now things are even more difficult. Food and fuel cost more, and some items are hard to find in shops. International sanctions, rules that stop Iran from trading with other countries, have made the situation worse. These sanctions were put in place because of Iran's nuclear program and its treatment of protesters. Because of this, Iran cannot sell as much oil or buy important goods from abroad. Unemployment is high, meaning many people do not have jobs. Those who do work often earn less money, and their salaries do not buy as much as before. Some families have to choose between paying rent and buying food. This has caused even more anger at the government. The poor economy is one of the main reasons why people are protesting. Many believe that if there were better leaders, life would improve. Until things change, everyday Iranians will continue to struggle. During the protests, the Iranian government has tried to control what people see and hear. Officials have blocked the internet in many areas, making it hard for people to use social media or read the news. This is called a media blackout. Without the internet, protesters cannot organize as easily. Families cannot check on loved ones, and the world cannot see what is really happening. Some brave Iranians still find ways to send videos and news out of the country, using secret apps or satellite phones. Foreign journalists have also had a hard time reporting from inside Iran. Some have been expelled or arrested. Human rights groups rely on messages from ordinary people to learn about the situation. This makes it hard to know the true number of injuries, deaths, or arrests. Media blackouts are meant to help the government, but they also make people more determined to share the truth. Many believe that if the world learns their story, things might change for the better. The situation in Iran is still changing every day. The protests could grow weaker if the government continues its crackdown, or they could get stronger if more people join. Some experts think Iran's leaders may try to make small changes to calm people down. Others worry that if violence grows, it could lead to a bigger conflict, even war. The actions of the United States and other countries will be important. If they keep pushing Iran's leaders, it could help the protesters, or it could make the government react even more harshly. There is also a chance that talks could lead to peace, but this will not be easy. Whatever happens, the Iran crisis matters to the world. Iran is a big country in a sensitive region. What happens there can affect oil prices, migration, and even peace in places far away. The courage of the Iranian people and the choices of world leaders will shape the future for millions. For now, the world is watching, hoping for a peaceful solution that brings more freedom and better lives for everyone in Iran.